Hey guys, I just want to welcome everyone back to another segment. As most of you know, the basketball fans at least, the NBA draft was approximately a week and a half ago, and my beloved Toronto Raptors had two picks, a late first and a late second round. So before the draft started, I kind of tweeted out five guys that the Raptors should look at with their first pick, which was the late first rounder, and their second pick, which was a late second rounder. So coincidentally enough, out of the top three guys, two were already taken. So Zeke Nanji was already taken, and so was Jaden McDaniels. So those are the two guys that I kind of had on my list um, over everyone else. The reason being is because Toronto had a lot of free agents at the big position, whether it's center or power forward. And going into the season, there was a lot of uncertainty what was going to happen. If Ibaka was going to stay, which he didn't. Boucher, is back, and then they also signed Aaron Baines and Alex Len now. But the reason why I had those two guys there is because we just didn't know what was going to happen. I kind of thought that Ibaka would leave, and I thought we would go big for some reason. Coincidentally enough, Malachi Flynn was the third guy on that list that I had actually. So he was basically the best guy that was left according to my list. I'm no expert, but that's just the guy that I would have taken. So once we took him, I was fairly happy. And the reason why I was fairly happy is because Malachi Flynn is going to see, I think, a ton of action this season in his first season. Like every rookie this year, they're going to have to catch up to speed fairly quickly because there's no summer league, and the exhibition games are fast approaching. So he's going to kind of have to learn on the fly. And what better two guys to learn from than Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet. So just a little bit of Malachi Flynn. He's a great catch and shoot guy. He showed that at the college level. He's the best pick and roll guy in the draft. He can guard guys, 1, 2, and sometimes even threes, smaller threes. He can really get into you. He can pick you up full court, which is something that obviously we're going to love in Toronto. He also loves his floater a little bit, too much at times. He doesn't get to the rim too much, but when he does, he's around 60%, which is really good. So with all the playing time that he's going to get, he's going to benefit playing behind these two guys and just being a dog up there. And that's something we need, especially with the uncertainty of like Terrence Davis with what's happened in the offseason. We have Norman Powell coming in off the bench most likely, who's going to see some minutes as well. And I think the fact that we took Flynn there shows a lot of belief in him, I guess. And the fact that he is going to play quite a bit. The only thing that he needs to improve at, he's kind of short, which he's not, you can't really improve that, and his wingspan isn't all that great. Shot selection, which is nothing to really worry about too much, because there's a lot of guys who are, the main players on their teams who have shot selection issues just because they're asked to do a lot. And obviously not getting to the rim, at least he didn't show it in college that much. He needs to do a little bit of that. Jalen Harris, honestly, I wasn't familiar with, and I thought with the second pick, we'd more than likely take a big guy because of the reasons that I did mention with Ibaka and stuff like that. But he's also a guy who can get to the rim. He's a 57% finisher. He's not a great catch and shoot guy, and he's not great off the dribble in terms of his jump shot. But he's a great rebounder for his size. He averaged something like 6.5, I believe, last season at Nevada. So he can do that for you. He's not a very, how do I put? He's a decent defender. He just didn't assert himself a lot. So he had a lot of plays off where he looked like he didn't care a lot about defense, which is, again, with college players, it may sound crazy, but there's a lot of guys who just didn't show that aspect of their game. I'm not saying he's going to be an awful defender, but he just didn't show it at times. And when he did, he was a decent defender. He wasn't awful. Like I said, his rebound is really good. Shot selection, again, like Malachi Flynn, like when you're the guy, you're going to take some bad shots. So it's going to be interesting to see where Jalen kind of slots in this season, because again, there is Terrence Davis, who's still on the roster, and there's Norman Powell, who's probably going to take a lot of the shooting guard minutes in the upcoming season. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of where he slots in, and maybe if we go with like a smaller lineup, like you insert him at maybe the 2 and then you use Powell at the 3, and there's a lot of things that you might see this season that you might not see in a regular NBA season, just because of the timelines and everything that's going on, and there's going to be a lot of games. And It wouldn't shock me to see even Jalen start some games, like Malachi Flynn as well. Like Larry's getting up there in age, and if the coaching staff really does believe in him and they took him, late first round, he's gonna get a lot of playing time, like I said, and he might even start some minutes. So it'd be great to hear from you guys what you guys expect from both of the players that I mentioned. So share, comment on this video, and let me know what you guys think. Take care.